Hello Year 9, we hope you're all well. I'm going to introduce your next task for you, and you have a couple of options that you may want to do. First option is using tea, coffee or food stains to use as a paint or an ink. I'm going to give you some more examples of what you would need to do for that on slide 6 to 9. And the second option is to create a fine line and mark making grid pattern study, and more information about that is on slide 10 to 11. Here are some close-up images of what you could use for your tea or coffee or food stains, and these two images are more based on the types of grid patterns that you would use. You won't be doing portraits, you're going to be using your own photographs that you took from your last task to create your grid pattern study. Okay, so moving on, tea and coffee stain art. So what we would like you to do is use tea and coffee to create your own kind of inks. Now you can use saucer cup stains and the rings that it leaves behind when you leave it on a piece of paper. You might even want to splash some onto the background, but we'd also like you to try and build up different levels of tone with the tea and the coffee. And you can do that by either leaving the tea longer so it becomes a bit stronger in the water, or you can add more coffee to the water and it will become a stronger, deeper brown. And you can also layer them up. So like for example, if you added a layer of coffee and then you let it dry and then add another layer on top, it would become a stronger colour. The colour would build up that depth. There's some examples in this YouTube video here, and there's also some really lovely examples in these videos here as well. We're really looking for you to think about how you are going to show all these different levels of tone, but in the way that you would use coffee and tea. So think about building up layers and building up levels of tone and depth into your work. You may want to use food stains, and here we're thinking about spices, beetroot, anything that would leave a stain on, I don't know, a piece of cloth or a piece of paper. Here are some examples of some of the spices that you might use, and here you can see is some cinnamon powder. Turmeric is a very good one to use, it's renowned for being a stain, and paprika as well. Turmeric's quite interesting too. If you add vinegar to it, I think it becomes red, so you can actually make really interesting different colours of stains. And it might be nice for you to create some sort of, I don't know, test strip, I suppose, and look at how they've actually added some stains and coffees together, some stains and some spices together. So here is coffee and paprika, this one is coffee and cinnamon, this one is turmeric and coffee, and every single time that you add something else to it, it will add a different level of depth to it. Here are some more YouTube tips that you might want to use to help you think about what sort of stains and what sort of natural inks that you might want to make. Again, here's some more YouTube clips that you might want to go through, and here you can see again there's lots of different types of colours and stains that you can make. And it's not just spices and powdered forms that you would need to use. You can get this out of blueberries, strawberries are renowned for making stains. Spinach, when you boil it and the water is left over, it becomes a kind of greeny colour. That will be able to leave a stain on a piece of paper. Have a really lovely play with this, be really experimental. It's quite a nice task where you don't have to worry about it being perfect. What we want you to do is really play with this idea. The next thing that you could or might want to do is the fine line and mark making grid pattern study. So this is a page full of different patterns that you might use within your study. This is a YouTube video of how you would build up your image, your pattern study, and I'm going to click on that very shortly. But on the next slide, I've had a go at this myself, and I have chosen to take a picture of Lego, and I decided to change the colour to a kind of purpley tones, just so it was all monotone, so it's easier for me to see the areas of dark tone and the areas of light tone, and also to distinguish between different areas. I chose this little area to draw out in the yellow box that I've gridded off here. And then once I've drawn it out, as you can see, I've like got light pencil lines. I then added over a grid line using a pencil that I could quickly rub out afterwards, because I know that I was using the fine liners. Once I've used the fine liners, obviously that's not going to rub out, so then I can rub out the pencil lines afterwards. It's really key to try and keep the squares of your grid as equal as possible, because otherwise it's going to look a little bit odd. Mine is slightly off, but it's not too bad. You can start wherever you like. I decided that it was actually easier for me to start in the middle because it gave me a base to work around, and I almost kind of will be working, and as you can see from this bit here, I kind of worked down and then around in a spiral. So I kind of started off with a dark pink, and then I decided to go off to a lighter pink, and these are gel pen fine liners I was using because I found them easier to use for the colours. And then I went off to a purple, and then I actually used a biro for this one because I quite liked the different texture it was giving, and also it was a slightly deeper purple. I then decided that I wanted to continue playing around with this idea of the gel pen, but using different mark making. I just wanted to see what the difference would be like if I had them juxtaposed together. So here you can see I've got lines in this mark making grid, but in here I've got zigzags. And the key to making this mosaic grid pattern work is to use a range of shapes and lines, and to make sure they are not too similar when they're sitting next to each other in the grid formation. So if I click on this video very quickly, you will see that they have really thought about all the different grids in their piece. Now I'm not going to play this too much because I would rather you guys watch this in full on your own. But I'm going to skip along a little bit. And here you can see that there's lots of beautiful areas of lots of different types of mark making. And you can see how this person has changed ever so slightly the tone of the blue. And this is something that you might also want to do yourself. So when you create your piece, we are looking for lots of different types of mark making. If you want to vary the different colours, then please do so. If not, just stick with black and white. What we are looking for in this task is one of the two options, okay? You don't have to do both. If you do want to do both, then you're more than welcome, but we're looking for one of the two options. We're looking for either a tea or coffee stain study using your images that you have taken from the previous task, or a fine liner mark making grid pattern study, again using your images that you took in the last task. Like I said before, please use this information on the slides, and if you are stuck at any point, then please let us know and we will be more than happy to try and help you out. Good luck and have fun with this, girls.